Hi, David.
Hi.
Oh, buddy, we've been gone for almost 2 weeks and we can't get any more enthusiasm than that.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is a little production called United Sessions. You may have forgot that it exists, but Dave and I certainly didn't. We've missed you all terribly. It's just been a crazy couple weeks. Dave, how many minutes do you think you would need to catch everybody up on everything that's happened since the last episode?
I'd say 525,600 minutes.
That's a very specific and probably conservative estimate.
Yeah. It's been a crazy time. It's been a great time, but a crazy time. We're kind of working on a lot of things right now. One of those things is obviously working on a stadium project. One of those things is launching the Meow Wolf kit, and obviously the Meow Wolf kit because of Meow Wolf Night, which is coming up this Saturday. Earl says he needs us to switch sides. Hold on. There you go.
There you go, Earl. We live to serve, brother.
There's a lot of stuff going on right now, and we're going to have our first community conversation surrounding the stadium project tomorrow night, which is, I think, crucial, hugely important for us to be able to have those conversations for people who have questions. It's kind of a complicated process. It can be a confusing process, and there's not necessarily the most information out there about that right now. So let's change that. Let's have people who have questions about the stadium, people who have concerns about the stadium, people who oppose it, people who support it, all of that be able to come together and have a respectful conversation, listen to each other, most importantly, because this is a community project and we should work together as a community. And so that's going to be tomorrow night on Zoom at 5:30. Check out our socials for the link to sign up, and we look forward to talking to you there.
No, it's going to be really great. And this is a wonderful opportunity to do a bit of self-plugging, which is the episode we did previous to this one was with team owner, president, founder, Peter Trevisani. Addressed some really, really great things in that. I think we had a good, healthy conversation with some people who are not necessarily 100% support of the project. And that is okay. That is why conversation is important. As you said, this is nuanced. There are things that we have to work through with patience, and there are things we have to work through with an attention to detail. And it's not quite the environment that social media has bred these days, quite frankly. Social media has bred an environment that's very reactionary and very, I want to have a good soundbite or I want to have a good quip. And this is just going to require so much more. And so that's why I'm so excited about these conversations, because if we're just going to try and tackle it through the lens of social media, I think it's going to devolve very quickly. I think what this team has always been built on and the importance of this project is going to be built on is everyone in the community feeling like they had a place at the table.
That's right. And we just need to listen to each other first and foremost. And that's with anything in life, right? I think so many of the world's problems could be solved if we all just listen to each other and saw things from another's perspective. Empathy is something that's really missing in the world. And so I think if we take the time to listen to each other on this project, whether we're supportive, whether we're not supportive, whether we have concerns or exciting ideas or anything in between, I think that's how we create something that truly is a community project and work together to get it done in a positive way. So really look forward to people joining us tomorrow at 5:30. Again, the link is on our social medias right now. You can go and sign up. Should be a lot of fun.
So in lieu of a game tonight, I have a funny suggestion for segment 3. I'll propose it to you live on air because I think that'll give it the sort of really organic nature that people like.
I'm nervous.
Oh, yeah, you should be. It's okay. Definitely nerve-wracking. But before we get to that, we actually got a fantastic individual to join us this week. And I don't know how you pulled it off. He's ridiculously busy. But Dave, you secured us an absolute legend of a New Mexican to chat with this evening.
Yeah, we're going to have Mr. Vince Kadlubek, former CEO of Meow Wolf. He's still very, very involved in Meow Wolf and all of their goings-on. Obviously, perfect week for it as we head into Meow Wolf Night on Saturday and launching our Meow Wolf kit on Thursday night. We're going to talk a little bit about that launch a little bit later, too. It should be a lot of fun. But yeah, Vince is an incredible New Mexican. He's, again, one of the founders and former CEO of Meow Wolf, and somebody who really, really believes in the mission of art and sport. That is so important to New Mexico United and has been since day one. And we're so excited to talk to him about that, about the origins of Meow Wolf, about, they've recently expanded. Got to go check out the one in Las Vegas. They're opening up in Denver here pretty soon. So lots to talk about with Vince.
Absolutely. It's going to be a wonderful conversation. That is guaranteed. A little bit of housekeeping for all of you supporters. This is old news to you. You've already done this. You've already rated the podcast. You've already subscribed to the podcast. You're already telling all of your friends all about the podcast. Now we just need to hit that next level, right? We've got our loyal supporters, and we appreciate you guys so much. Now it's time to take it to the next level. And the way we do that is just kind of forcing it into people's feeds using the scary robotic algorithms that the social media overlords have set up. But for some reason, the rules they like are rate, subscribe, review. So if you can do those things for us, we will be crazy appreciative.
All right. Well, on the other side of the break, Mr. Cash, we will have Vince Kadlubek. We'll talk all things Meow Wolfie and have a lot of fun. See you in a minute.
From day one, community has been at the heart of New Mexico United. This state, these people, this culture is in our DNA. United has always been more than a sports team, and victory has always been more than 3 points. With everything we do, we are dedicated to creating positive outcomes for every New Mexican. It's time for us to double down on that mission. Introducing the Somos Unidos Foundation, our commitment to the future in our state, to the future of our community, and to our belief that we are all united. Somos Unidos.
And welcome back to United Sessions. It's been a while since we did one of these, Dave. Let's see if we still know how to do it. We have a fine guest joining us this evening, Mr. Vince Kadlubek. Did I get that right, Vince?
Yeah, that's better than most people do, man. That's perfect, actually.
Okay. Well, we'll just roll from that.
Successful podcast already.
All right, guys. It was a great show. Talk to you later.
Good. Thank you, Vince, for joining us. We'll see you guys on the other side. All joking aside, if you know anything about New Mexico, and more specifically the New Mexico art scene, then Vince's name is one that is familiar to you. He is renowned for his involvement with the Meow Wolf Art Collective, the House of Eternal Return being the OG with all of that, but some new things opening up as well, and we definitely want to jump in with all of that. But before we get started, Vince, how are you? How's life been over the last couple months?
Oh my gosh, just ongoing wild journey. We reopened House of Eternal Return in Santa Fe in March. We reopened the Las Vegas exhibit in February. And then we just announced the opening weekend for the Denver exhibit, which is going to be the weekend of September 17th, which is very exciting. So it's just been after a year of big question marks and a year of not knowing, we were impacted obviously by COVID more than any other industry. In-person themed entertainment was just live events was just devastated. So we didn't really know how things were going to go, and now on the other side of it, our team is brilliant. Our team is the best team in the world, and they stayed diligent, and now we're on the other side of it. And so it's just like a dream. It's such a dream. It's such a blessing to have Santa Fe performing so well, Vegas performing out of this world, and then Denver having such a great reaction. So things are awesome.
You mentioned that reaction. You guys put tickets on sale, I think, last week, and you sold 35,000 tickets in a day. Is that right?
Yeah, 35,000 tickets in a day.
Oh my God!
Not quite Travis Scott numbers, but we feel pretty good about it. Yeah. And in comparison, I think Vegas sold about $1,000 tickets in the first 24 hours. So the response to Denver has just been out of this world.
Well, I've had the privilege of being down at the Cat Factory and seeing some of the stuff that was going into Denver, and it's just, again, going to be mind-blowing once again. You mentioned the question marks that were associated with 2020. I think we're all familiar with them, and there's not really a big need to rehash them. But what I'd be more interested in discussing is the sort of history of question marks that really start at the beginning of Meow Wolf's story, right? That it's very much shrouded in mystery and shrouded in unknowns, and then really bolstered and buttressed by kind of an unwavering fearlessness. So talk about those early days, some of the question marks you had going then, and how those persist to this day.
Yeah, it's been a wave of growth, an ongoing wave of growth since we started in 2008. All the way from the very beginning of not even knowing what it is that we're about, not knowing who or what type of energy or what type of language, what type of communication we use, learning how to work collaboratively, and just the big unknowns there, and what leadership means. Because back in the day, it was all volunteer. So leadership wasn't something that was appointed. It was just something that was earned, or something that was attempted to be gained. And so much learning in the early days, you know. And then of course, like in 2014, after being around for 6 years, we as like a clubhouse, as like an art collective, we were ready to go our separate ways. You know, the people who had made up Meow Wolf needed to think about their jobs, their careers, their families, their life, and we were ready to go our separate ways. And I really, you know, this biggest moment of unknown for us, I was just like, I think Meow Wolf still has a momentum that's valuable and that can live in the world. And so coming up with a business plan and shifting towards this like for-profit model, going big, going with like the size of House of Eternal Return, and then having the courage to go and talk to George R. R. Martin, you know, and say, George, will you buy a bowling alley and help us convert it into this crazy attraction? And, you know, but it just keeps going. It's like,
Do we lose Vince there?
You still with us, Vince? Well, until he comes back, we can go ahead and chat a little bit about that. You know, he was talking about kind of the origin stories of Meow. Oh, wait, there he is. There he is.
He's back.
My connection decided to jump onto an Xfinity connection and it completely cut off the stream. My bad.
No worries. You were kind of talking about the early days.
Yeah, so I was just saying, like, we're a startup, so it's an ongoing process of growth and unknown. And I think the power of Meow Wolf is that we, as a brand, we communicate to the outside world that we're willing to go into the unknown and courageously. You know, I think that that's part of what the brand stands for. And when you show up to a Meow Wolf, you're actually participating in that brand promise by buying a ticket and walking through this mysterious unknown environment. So it's a great question because it hits right at the core of who we are. And I think, like, for better or for worse, I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. I think we're going to keep going into the unknown for a long period of time here in front of us.
Well, you guys, you know, obviously the front of our jersey, that's a big thing for us. And we've had a partnership since day one. Part of that partnership is Meow Wolf Night. And that is coming up in T-minus 5 days from right now. And 2019 was an absolute blast. 2021 shaping up to be just as much fun. Do you have any fond memories in particular from Meow Wolf Night 2019?
Are you kidding me? That night was like amazing. That night was like just total magic. Seeing all the Meow Wolf branded, United jerseys, the Meow Wolf sponsored jerseys being worn by people in costume, like putting on such a show for each other. People all across Mexico of different backgrounds, all kind of rallying around both the team and also around our company. It was just magic, you know. I got to walk out on the field. I got to kick the first ball, you know, and to hear the crowd cheer us on, you know, in that moment. It was such a connected moment, like a full circle moment for me of just feeling love and appreciation from the state that I was born and raised in. Yeah, it was amazing. The energy was off the charts, and I think this year is going to be just as fun, probably even more fun because everybody's ready to get out and ready to party.
Well, I remember when Meow Wolf Night 2019 was announced. I wasn't working for the team yet, but I remember thinking about it, and I was like, okay, that sounds really cool. You know, they're encouraging people to, you know, wear costumes and get as Meow Wolfy as possible, if that is an adjective. Yeah. And in my head, I had two reactions. One, I really liked the idea, but two, it was like, are people gonna do it? Like, are people gonna get costumed up? Are they gonna really buy in and dive into it? And I was a little worried that people wouldn't do it. And then I showed up to the tailgate, and holy hell was I wrong. Everybody was bought in, and some of the costumes were absolutely incredible. And that kind of leads me to a question, which is, you know, at the very beginning of United, you know, the focus since the beginning has been on art and sport and marrying those two what can be seen as disparate things, but I don't think they are. And how crucial is that, and how wonderful is it to see those things happening in a way that I don't think is happening anywhere else in the world?
It's amazing. I mean, like, you know, and I think, you know, Pete and I's friendship we actually worked out of the same office. So like Meow Wolf was working out of the same office that Pete was working out of when United got started. So, there was this a very authentic connection between Meow Wolf and United, art and sport. And I think what Pete saw in this connection between art and sport was that both are about cultural expression. Both are about like kind of taking the energy of the area and then funneling it into a venue, and I started to think about art and sport a little bit more because, I had to basically kind of pitch the idea to the company like, hey, we're going to be on the front of a soccer jersey. And at first everybody was like, wait, what is it? That doesn't make any sense. But one of the things that I said was like, think about kids in high school, like think about like the kids in high school that are having, might be having a hard time on the standard track. Like, what are the two things that they might turn to keep them going to class or keep them going? And it's like, you have your art kids on one side and you have your athletes on the other side, where like, there's these two things that are like, not quite about academia. They're more about like self-expression. And those things, there's actually a lot of similarity between the type of kids that go towards art to stay motivated in life and the type of kids that move towards sports to stay motivated in life. And that when I kind of found that connection, it was like an aha moment for the company. It was like, okay, yeah, we get it. And so it's an amazing concept. I had never thought about it or heard about it before. I'm a big sports fan, so like I felt it myself, but like I'd never seen somebody try to attempt it, and it's brilliant what you guys are pulling off.
Well, and I think we saw a resonation, and I think this is one of the parts I love the most as it specifically relates to that jersey and that partnership. I mean, there's two things that really stand out to me. Number one was the amount of international, sort of visibility this jersey was getting. We'd get pictures from people in Spain or people in Italy or people in France or people in Australia, and they're wearing a New Mexico United Meow Wolf jersey for no other reason that they knew what you guys were about. It was a cool shirt. And all of a sudden now we've got this international fan base. So that was fairly amazing to me. But the more amazing part to me was just the boldness with which Pete went after it. Sometimes Pete can be very strategic, very deliberate, take his time, think through things, do projection mapping. When it came to this one, he walked into a room of maybe three of us that were in there and he said, what if we put Meow Wolf on the front of our jersey? No context whatsoever, no explaining the idea, no talking about his relationship. That's where he wanted to start that baseline conversation. Was it pretty similar on your side as well, that Pete just kind of came to you and was like, hey, what if we put you guys on the front of our jersey?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like sometimes, Pete has that energy of, I love it, let's do it, and that was the kind of the energy of that moment. He was just like, I love this, let's do it. And it didn't take much. We have a really great CFO at Meow Wolf. His name's Carl Christensen. And he's also a big sports fan, and he was sort of my right hand man at the time, helping me with business development decisions. And so Carl was bought in immediately as well, and that's what it felt like. It just felt like, all right, let's do this, And honestly, we did not have any clue on our side as to the impact that it was going to have for us. The impact of visibility for sure, but like also just the impact of like pride. Like to walk into a United game and see Meow Wolf everywhere, like everywhere you turn, was kind of like a fever dream. But it also was just like, it made our employees, it made the people who created Meow Wolf feel so proud of who we are. And that all of these New Mexicans are wearing our name with pride. And that just like, and then to see a bunch of artists start going to soccer games, and like become like huge fans of United was also special. So yeah, it's been such a good combustion of chemistry between the two of us. I love it.
Well, you mentioned Meow Wolf being on the jersey. There is also, in addition to that, the Meow Wolf jersey, which is separate. You have our main home and away kits that have Meow Wolf on them. But then you have the specialty Meow Wolf jersey. We did one in 2019. It was awesome with the polka dots. I still have people contact me trying to get those, and they are no longer available. But 2020 obviously didn't happen for COVID reasons. But 2021, we're launching a new Meow Wolf jersey, which has not been revealed to the public yet. But excited about that. That's coming out this Thursday.
Oh, really? This Thursday?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's okay. So this is one of the like perks of no longer being CEO of the company is that like I get to be surprised by things again. And so, like I didn't even know that this was happening, and that's a good thing. I'm excited now. I'm excited to see what comes of it.
So Thursday night, we're going to be doing an event at the Team Store on Carlisle and Central, where we're going to launch the jersey. It's going to be kind of a Meow Wolfy event. Again, I'm going to use that adjective once more. Where I think it would be inappropriate for me to say we're going to do a mini Meow Wolf because we can't quite do anything toward the justice of these incredible artists. But we're going to do our best attempt at it. There's going to be black lights and lots of other fun stuff there as we unveil the jersey for the first time on Thursday night at the Team Store. So come on by if you're around, Vince.
That's amazing. Okay, cool. I am around, so I'll try to be there.
Sweet.
All right, we're going to blast it out on social media, and we're going to just make you a feature of the event, Vince, without your permission or otherwise. But something you often talk about in your articles and your speeches that you do in the documentary and different things like this is this concept of a crisis of imagination. And it's something that Peter used a lot as we were kind of launching the team, as we were kind of partnering with you. And I think probably in the land of enchantment, this is a crisis that's maybe more prevalent than it is elsewhere. It's such a crisis, Vince doesn't even want to deal with it anymore. He's out of here. But yeah, so Dave, I don't know if you've talked about this at all, but like the idea that the poverty of imagination and what can we do to be a cure for that? How does that resonate with you as a sort of adopted New Mexican?
Yeah, I think that goes back into the art and sport conversation, right? A crisis of imagination happens when we pigeonhole ourselves, right? When we tell ourselves that we fit in one category, so we can't do something else. I don't think there's ever been a crisis of imagination in New Mexico. It's mainly providing an outlet for those. And I think Meow Wolf is an outlet. And I think New Mexico United is an outlet for that. I think having a place to express yourselves in creative ways, whether that be through art, whether that be through sport, whether it be through music or cooking or whatever, New Mexico is such a hotbed for culture, frankly, I think is what we're talking about. And when we allow ourselves to accept that we are creative people and allow ourselves to accept that we have good ideas and that we are worthy of good things, then I think we can achieve incredible things. And I think United and Meow have both shown that.
Well, and just to bring it full circle with collaboration and efforts to that front, who ever thought there would be a world where you would be bringing in people whose sole interest is the sort of nouveau art realm, right? That we're going to push into these realms of art collectives and we're going to support Meow Wolf. And then on the other side, you have these people that are diehard soccer fans, the people we see in Soccer Fans of Albuquerque all the time, don't miss a Premier League game. Those are fairly disparate populations, right? So to have the idea that because we partnered together, we now have people who love Meow Wolf caring about the soccer team. And now we have individuals who care about soccer that are like, what the heck is a Meow Wolf? And so I think bringing all those things together is another one of those cures. Like if we can get past the pigeonhole that we should be separate and we should focus on our specialties and there shouldn't be these blend between realms that are traditionally thought of as separate, you can do some really, really amazing things. And now Vince is back. And so let's hear Vince's take on the question.
Man, I'm sorry. My iPhone turned off and said it was too hot. Like it was like temperature problems.
That's New Mexico for you, right?
I quickly put my phone in the freezer and now I'm back. So hopefully it doesn't happen again. I'll try to be in the shade now. So you're asking about the crisis of imagination and sort of how what that means and how this partnership is kind of part of the solution to that crisis of imagination. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so like the idea of crisis of imagination to me is that like we're the world, especially the physical world, like the world of like events and things outside of the digital, outside of our iPhones, is like the physical world is so tried and true and predictable and known and like copy pasted. There just hasn't been investment into the physical world in a way that's creative, in the way that makes us feel like there's possibility. Now there has been on our iPhones, there has been on the computer and in software and in video games, but not in the physical world. And so like I think what happens for kids and for people growing up is that they don't see possibility moving forward. Like because the world is so stuck in how it is and how it has been, there's a lack of there lacks the ability to be able to look in your own life and think that things can be different for yourself. And like transformation, possibility, the ability to change your life, change your family's life, change your workplace life, happens within the imagination. That's where it happens. And when the world around you doesn't have that imagination, then like, how can you have that imagination, you know? And so what I love about New Mexico United, what I love about this partnership with Meow Wolf is like, it's making people see soccer or community sports or local, you know, professional sports from a different perspective. And if like New Mexico United and the experience of a soccer match can be different than what you thought it's supposed to be, or like if a refrigerator you yourself can be different than what you thought you could be. Like there's like this opportunity for anything to be different when creativity, imagination is embedded into the physical world in a way that's unexpected, in a way that's subverted. And so that's what's so exciting about it to me, is it's just like, it just presents new opportunity. People makes people kind of think about things differently. And for the state of New Mexico too, it's like state of New Mexico has this thing now that's like kind of unexpected. That gives us a new feeling, gives us a new thought as to like what the state could be, who we could be as a community together, how we can interact. Like you guys are setting an entirely new environment for how New Mexicans can interact with each other. And that starts to spark the imagination as to like what's possible for us going forward as a state. So yeah, I'm glad that these are freaking great questions, because they're right on the nose. I'm glad that you pointed to that, because it's what makes me so excited. Yeah, you know, we're playing football, we're playing soccer, we're cheering on our team, but at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're setting the stage as a community for new possibilities in our state, like new possibilities as New Mexicans.
Yeah.
And we've so desperately needed that in the state. So props. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Well, I take two things away from what you just said, Vince. First, and I don't know about foremost, but first anyway, is I've kind of always measured us as an organization, as United, when we're doing well, we have a stadium full of people who aren't quote unquote traditional soccer fans. You know, I think when you have people from disparate communities and people from, whether that be geographical, whether that be, you know, whatever it might be, whenever you don't have the traditional soccer fan, you know, the person who's been a fan since they were a kid, or the person who has been following a European or South American team, you know, since they were a kid, when you have a stadium full of people who aren't that and who just care about community first, and soccer happens to be the vehicle, that means we're doing well. That's the first thing I take from that. And then the second one, that within that, you know, that I guess I take away, you know, a worthiness of New Mexicans to explore things that I think that sometimes we don't recognize as New Mexicans. I think a worthiness to have good things, to find good things, to create good things, and whether that be art, whether that be a stadium, whether that be music, whether that be sport, whatever it might be. We as people need to recognize that we as New Mexicans, we're worthy of good things, and we're worthy of finding and exploring and creating good things. And I don't think we think about that enough as New Mexicans.
Totally. Well, you know, like it's kind of a blessing and a curse a bit, because we have an amazing past. Our state has an amazing past. And I think we all cherish that past and honor that past. And it's such a big part of our story. But it's also makes it a little hard to think about our future, and because we're so anchored in it. And what I love about New Mexico, another thing I love about New Mexico United, because there's like 1,000 things, but is like, you guys didn't go with red and yellow, you know, you didn't go with Roadrunners and Zia symbols. Like, you had the courage to say, no, this is something new. Like, you know, our fan base is going to be called, you know, the Curse. It has like, you know, it has a little bit, it has the La Llorona thing, but like it kind of comes at it from this new angle that allows for us to celebrate ourselves and celebrate our state in a new way, in a way that's explorable, in a way that's possible, you know? And so yeah, right on.
Well, I love what you're both saying, and it brings me back to something that Pete often talks about, which is exporting the state. And you are literally exporting the state in a way, Vince. I know that Meow Wolf is bigger than a New Mexico thing. It's a collection of a bunch of amazing people. And so to pigeonhole it and say it's a New Mexico thing isn't exactly accurate. But the spirit of how it was started, the spirit of collaboration, the spirit of unity, as you're talking, Dave, I think of this beautiful sentimental picture that we had from Meow Wolf 2019, which is the wonderful John Molina, may rest in peace, and all of his traditional sort of what Vince is talking about, old New Mexico, right? And growing up on farms and working the land and, being that sort of salt of the earth gentleman. To see him taking a picture next to someone that I don't even know how to describe her costume other than it was just some like neon koosh ball thing, except instead of nice little wispy things, it was spikes. And to see those two individuals, not just taking some random picture, but that is a snapshot of New Mexico United, and that is a snapshot of New Mexico, and that's the stuff I'd like to see exported. How do you feel about that, Vince?
I love it. I mean, the biggest influence for me growing up, one of the biggest influences for me growing up was here in Santa Fe was the Zobra, and it was the hysterical parade, and it was the pet parade, and like all of these funky weird things in Santa Fe that came out of this like this thought that like that creative expression is also part of New Mexico. That's also an embedded part. When you say like Meow Wolf's not necessarily exporting New Mexico, I would say we are. Like we're exporting this courage, this creativity, this connection to authenticity, the willingness to break out of the mold or to not fit into a mold to begin with. I think a lot of New Mexicans take pride in the fact that like it's hard to define New Mexico. It's hard to define a New Mexican. It's hard to define this state. And so there's a lot about Meow Wolf that as we go into other states, we actually feel like we're bringing the spirit of New Mexico with us when we go and expand, because it's a super unique place. It's unlike any other state in the country. And at the heart of that too is the willingness to journey, the willingness to be adventurous and to explore the unknown, and that's deeply rooted in New Mexico's history. We were the farthest, the northernmost point of New Spain. We were the people who were on the outside of even New Spain or Mexico, and so we've always sort of been on this island, and I think we've always been sort of proud of being on that island. There's a lot of originality and courage and kind of outsiderness that comes from that, and I think we take a lot of pride in that.
All right, so we talk about exporting New Mexico to other places. Meow Wolf has ventured to other places as well. Obviously, getting the start in Santa Fe and the House of Eternal Return is incredible. But Vince, I had the opportunity a few months back, and we actually did a whole episode about it. I had the opportunity to go to Meow Wolf Las Vegas, which was incredible, and Omega Mart was absolutely amazing. For those who have, I think we'll have quite a few listeners here who have been to House of Eternal Return, but have not been to Omega Mart in Las Vegas. What can they expect when they make the trip out there? And then we can get into Denver after that.
Well, you expect a whole new experience. Expect something that's has certain elements that are familiar, but 99.9% of the experience is entirely brand new. It's the sound inside of the exhibit is phenomenal. Like if you go to Vegas, spend time in all these rooms and listen, because like the music and the soundtrack and the speakers is really something that is easy to go on. It's easy to go missed because we don't think about it often, but I think it's something that is just like top notch. And the work is gorgeous. Like it's wild and it's gorgeous. The store itself, Omega Mart, is like just filled with like joke after joke after joke, and it's hard to even like believe that this store exists. It's phenomenal that we could even have pulled this off. But then once you get into the exhibit, there is just like some of the most gorgeous rooms that you'll ever see inside of the exhibit. So yeah, I mean, go with an open eye. I would say also, like, if you do go, just hang out, like just sit on the floor. Just like, don't worry about walking through it. Like literally inhabit the space. Like just sit there, just enjoy it, just spend some time in there, because to me, that's where Omega Mart really starts to like be better understood.
I can tell you that the main room, and I don't want to describe it because I don't want people to experience it for the first time, but the tallest room in there, I spent about an hour just kind of hanging out in there, watching things happen. And it was absolutely incredible. And you can spend all day there and not have enough time. I took a bunch of photos on my phone while I was there inside Omega Mart of some of these jokes. Some of my favorites included vegan goat pus, emergency clams, those cereal, and vape juice flavored root beer. Some of those are my favorites. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was so much fun.
It's root beer. Yeah, it's root beer flavored vape juice flavored root beer.
Sorry.
And yeah, some of my favorites. I really like Rumored Associates cereal.
Yes,
it's like two like awkward looking boomers who are like, and they're just on the front of a cereal box called Rumored Associates. And then I also really like, I don't know if you saw it, it's an air freshener called Who Told You This Was Butter? And it's like a yellow tinted air freshener that looks like butter and is actually scented like butter, but it's an air freshener, not butter. And the name is Who Told You This Was Butter?
My other favorite one that I forgot was it was a laundry detergent called Plausible Deniability. That one was hilarious. I love that. It's so good.
So that leads to a good question, Vince. Is what do the ideation sessions look like around this thing? Do you send out a company-wide calendar invite and you say bring your 10 weirdest plays on words / products, and we're gonna beat them up and vet them and make a store out of them?
Pretty much, yeah. We went to the company. We went to company-wide, like everybody, like people in HR, people in finance. Like it didn't matter what department you sat in. It's like, hey, here's your opportunity to come up with a product, and we got like a list of like 1,000 products basically, and then we narrowed it down to about 150 of them. And then Emily Montoya, who's one of the co-founders of Meow Wolf, also proud New Mexican, born and raised. She's brilliant, and she basically turned all these products, helped lead the graphic design process to make all of these products, really phenomenal in how they look. And then the merchandise team actually went out and sourced these products. So like when we came up with Who Told You This Was Butter, they had to go out and try to find a manufacturer who would make butter scented air freshener for us. And, stuff like that. It's like, it was a gargantuan effort by the team. And can't believe that we got it done. It's phenomenal.
That's awesome. All right. So we're going to want to get you out of here on time. Real quick, Denver opening up here in just a few weeks. Yep. What's the excitement level and what can people expect there?
Dude, this Denver exhibit, like I honestly think that like the two best attractions of 2021 are going to both be Meow Wolf attractions, Vegas and Denver. I think that the Meow Wolf Denver project is seriously one of the most remarkable things that has ever been created. And I know that's crazy to say, but it's like we have created a full-on dream world. Like the scale and the complexity and the commitment, like somebody had to write a check for this. Like we have investors who wrote a check for this project, and it's an absurd project, but somehow it got done. And honestly, like I think when you step back from it, like it's up there with some of the greatest things ever created. And I know I'm a hype man. I'm very P.T. Barnum-esque, and that's sort of my thing. But like, I honestly believe that. I think our team has created one of the most remarkable things on this planet. And so people have got to see it. Like you got to go check it out because it's truly mind blowing.
Well, I'm not going to spoil anything, Vince, but I will tell you when I was able to, again, I had the good fortune of meeting some of these artists, and as they were working on some of the projects, right, there didn't look to be, labor or pain or anything in their eyes. They were like, almost like mischievous children is the best way I can describe it. As they're showing you this piece that they're working on, and they're showing you maybe some of the features that are going to take a second to hash out. There's almost this diabolical but very fun look in their eyes. Like, wait until the world sees this. Like, is that almost a prerequisite to be a Meow Wolf artist? Is just to have a little bit of that glint in your eye?
It is, yeah, for sure. And then that we really do like the artists and the artist spirit. The person who's trying to create something that's never been created before. The creative audacity that comes from that, like wanting to do something unprecedented, and the type of mischievous that you have to have mischievousness that you have to have in order to do that. I also just want to like honor that like this stuff has been hard work. Like day after day after day of 12-hour days, repetitive work. And so like, though there is like this obvious like joy that we're doing something that's never been done before, there's also like a lot of sacrifice that's happening across the team in order to get this unprecedented thing to the finish line. And so, I just want to honor that, because I know a lot of folks in the company, just have worked their butts off. I mean, just have worked harder than they've ever worked before to make this happen. And so, it's just good to honor that, good to acknowledge that.
Well, and I think from that same sheet of music, Vince, it's important to honor the individuals who wouldn't necessarily fall under the category of artist at Meow Wolf. I think one of the most impressive individuals I met was the person who was responsible for the shipping coming in and out of the factory and making sure stuff got to where it was supposed to be. And the art with which that woman did her job in laying that all out it's another tremendous effort and worthy of praise, certainly.
It's complexity on so many levels. It's dealing with, and then to think that this complexity that we're dealing with, or I should say that they were dealing with, happened simultaneous to COVID, and dealing with the complexity of that. And so having to manage both simultaneously, it's not easy. And we've had like the commitment level is, like I say, we have the best team in the world, because not only is the team brilliant, the team has this like uncanny, unprecedented work ethic and commitment that even when things are tough, we're going to get there, and that drive and that spirit is like really, really, really incredible. Yeah.
All right.
And to be
valued, Vince, I think we're low on time here, but really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us today, talking Meow Wolf. Again, Meow Wolf Night is coming up this Saturday, kickoff at 7:30 against El Paso Locomotive FC at the Lab. Vince, anything you want the people to know before you call it an evening?
Say that again. Sorry. Anything
you want people to know before we call it a night?
Oh, I mean, go out to Meow Wolf Night and like step out of your shell, like dress up, like be your best self, be your fanciest self, be your craziest self. Like go out there and like, oh, and I'd also challenge you, connect with strangers. Like if you at the stadium, you're gonna go with all your friends, but make an effort Meow Wolf Night to try to connect with people that you don't know, that you've never met before.
There's plenty of conversation starters to make that happen.
Yeah, great opportunity at the dance party as well. Go dance with someone who is compatible with your most creative self.
There you go.
Well, Vince Kadlubek, thank you so much for taking the time, man. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right, take care.
In New Mexico, we know true love, true beauty, true adventure, true color, and true culture. Because we are truly hot, truly unique, truly rich, and truly home to the greatest stories and heroes, caverns and mountains, music and dancing, sunrises and sunsets. Home to the artists, the warriors, and the multi-generational, multiracial, all-inclusive family that we call the United. It's true, the black and yellow, this shield, these people, these scenes. This is New Mexico United, and New Mexico United is New Mexico True.
Dave, that was an amazing conversation.
Well, Vince is an amazing dude.
No doubt about it. Like, again, a lot of the days I wake up, I am convinced I have the coolest job on the face of the earth. And then I get to talk with someone like that, and they say, don't meet your heroes. Well, Vince is definitely counter to that little bit of wisdom, because he's definitely a hero of mine. He's done amazing things for this state. And what a guy. It was just amazing talking with him.
Yeah, I think sometimes you meet people who just get it, you know. You meet people who kind of share your ethos, share your values, and I think in a lot of ways Vince shares that with us as an organization. Meow shares that as an organization with United, you know, focusing on the combination of art and sport, but more importantly than that, maybe focusing on exporting New Mexico to the world, being proud of who we are as New Mexicans. I think that's really important for us to do whenever we can, and really to always be proud of who we are. And I think United and Meow Wolf both do an incredible job of exporting New Mexico to the world.
You got me with an amazing heart punch, man. Like there were a lot of good bits of that conversation, but I think when you were sort of expounding on give yourself the space and the grace to be like, I can do something amazing. Like speaking to like 11 or 12-year-old Lucas Cash, who grew up in New Mexico at that time, like that's moving stuff. And there were a lot of amazing people on our journeys, and we all love them. But that just sort of audacious ambition was just not something that you know, I felt like I had the right to take a hold of. And, you know, hearing you and Vince talk about that whole thing, it was especially moving.
Well, what's that old saying is the dare to dream, right? And it is courageous to dream. It is courageous to create. It is courageous to put yourself out there in that way. And we have such creative talent in New Mexico, and that creative talent deserves that courage.
I didn't properly set up the segment, and I apologize to my dear friend Canella and Cinnamon Cafe for not informing you all that we are in the Cinnamon Cafe Wrap It Up section. If you don't know about the burrito cards, Dave, give us an update. Have you and Josh completed your first burrito card yet?
We have. We finished our first burrito card. We got a free burritos. It was wonderful. It was great. I mean, I was going to say it's a little embarrassing how many of those I eat, but I regret nothing. So they're delicious, and I'll finish up a second one here soon.
To me, it's not a point of shame. To me, it's a point of pride. I think you guys filled that thing in 4 days.
We don't need to get into the numbers, man.
You had a couple days off. You weren't in the office. But if we take it from like soup to nuts, when you got the cards to when you were actually in a legitimate ordering position, we're talking like 4 days of burritos.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
And you buy for other people. Again, this is not Dave horking down 3 burritos, though on a good day, I'm sure he could with no problem.
I could do it, yeah.
You are the best. You are the spirit of Somos Unidos, the spirit of Cinnamon Cafe when you're like, hey, who needs a breakfast burrito to get this day started right? So as always, we're thankful to them. We love them to death. And as much as they probably regret sponsoring this section, we couldn't be happier to have them.
That would be a great Meow Wolf Night costume. The spirit of Somos Unidos, like a ghost.
Ooh,
spirit of
but it'd be a friendly ghost, probably with breakfast burritos.
Breakfast burritos, lots of fancy colors. Yeah, it'd be cool. Do you have a costume for Meow Wolf Night?
I do not.
Come on, Cash.
I'm devastated. So let me tell you, I have done a great job ideating. I have done a great job ideating for other people. I don't know if there's a lot of fans of the show Money Heist out there, but I've proposed that our photographers that are down on field wear those red jumpsuits and those Salvador Dali masks and really create an eerie environment for the other team. Imagine that. Even Yuma, in all of his great flopping ways, is probably going to struggle with the idea of seeing a member of Money Heist.
That's probably true. I'm wondering because obviously last time we had a Meow Wolf Night, it did not work for the club, and so I had this big inflatable banana, and I was capoing. My thought is I need to be up in the press box. Am I just going to be able to go up in the press box in my costume and have that be okay? I assume so, but I don't know.
This is the magic of Meow Wolf Night.
It's a bulky costume this year.
Everyone has to deal with it. In fact, you're the overseer of media credentials. I'm a little bit disappointed that you didn't put a costume requirement on this one. If you're not in costume, you're not getting in.
It's true. It's true.
Brandon Ortega, I'm talking to you. Brandon, you better blow my mind with your costume.
They're all going to dress as journalists.
All right, we got this hashtag rolling up along the bottom, courtesy of my good friend, producer Dylan. I used this not only as an important contest, I guess we're going to do here in a second, but to remind me that Dylan is amazing. For those of you that don't know, Dylan Cuellar works tirelessly behind the scenes to make this thing even somewhat presentable. He hates being on camera, and he's now flipping out, and his hands are fully covering head. That's where we like to see you, Dill. But the more primary purpose is this, Dave. At the beginning of the episode, I promised we don't necessarily have a game tonight, but let's do something fun. And one of the greatest parts of my life is that I get access to some one-to-ones that not a lot of people get. So whether that's a prototype that comes in for a jersey, whether that's a signed bit, like I've got my hands on some pretty primo merch. And Vince said something that really, really resonated with me. And that was this: find someone new, find a stranger, right? And obviously we want people to be safe. Obviously we want you to be mindful of circumstances, but New Mexico United fans in general, amazing, right? Go find someone new, snap a selfie with them, put the little hashtag NMUTD Meow Wolf friend on that selfie, and I'm going to scroll through there and I'm going to find a couple that I think are amazing, and I'm going to give access to the one of ones that I have. Dave, I got to be honest. I got a little bit too much stuff right now. It can't be properly displayed. I can't wear every single piece of it. I want people to understand how important it is what Vince said. Like, that is the beauty of these things. Like, some of those most beautiful scenes of 2019 are new people meeting each other for the first time. And then we have friendships. I don't know you without New Mexico United. I don't know Jake without New Mexico United. I don't know RJ. And the list is literally another 4 hours of podcast. But I cannot stress how amazing it is to get to know your fellow Black and Yellow family.
Amen. Amen. I love that. This is specifically at the match on Saturday, correct?
Correct. What I mean,
and the tailgate and all that.
You happen to run across someone on Thursday who's wearing some gear, and you're hanging out at a cool local establishment. Snap that picture. All I'm going to do is I'm going to search that hashtag down there, NMUTD Meow Wolf friend, and I'm just going to pick out a couple of pictures arbitrarily that I think really speak to me, and I want to see a lot of good pictures because I
love it. I love it. Can I have the giant shield polo, please?
I have one of them. If we can get in contact with some past employees, we may be able to put together a pool of upwards of 4 gigantic Jill polos.
All right. Well, cool. I think that's a great use of of your time, and a great use of togetherness, and a great way for people to come together who otherwise might not know each other. And that's what, like you said, that's what this club has done for a lot of us. I would say like 70 to 80% of the people in my life I know through United these days. So yeah, absolutely. I love that, Lucas.
Yeah, we've gotten each other through a lot, and this is just a fun way for me. And it's also very selfish on my part, Dave, because I'm going to have to talk to these people, and I'm going to be like, out of this smorgasbord of memorabilia I have, what is useful to you? Heck, it could be a Daniel Bruce signed photo from year one. It could be one of the jerseys. I don't know. I'm not married to anything.
I'll throw a couple items. I've got a couple items I'll throw in there too.
It's good. We just want to see a lot of amazing pictures because that makes the content team's job a lot easier, and it just brings us a tremendous amount of smiles.
Awesome. Well, cool. Before we wrap it up, Lucas, it is the Cinnamon Cafe wrap it up segment. So we wrap it up every time with your favorite part of the episode.
Goodness, it's really hard talking to Vince.
Yeah.
Despite his internet connectivity problems, which are always a constant source of comedy on our show, I think my favorite part is just how authentically this guy is aligned with what we're doing. You make decisions to partner with people, and those have a lot of ramifications. Those aren't easy decisions. And when you make a decision and you get to look back on it 3 years later, Dave, 3 years in the making, and you're like, we could not have partnered with a better organization, with a better head of steam at the front of it than that guy. It validates a lot of those crazy early conversations when Pete busts into the room and is like, hey, what if we put Meow Wolf on our jersey? If I could go back 3 years, I would say to him, that's one of the best decisions you could ever make, boss.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I think it's kind of something you referenced a little bit earlier, but Vince talking about kind of the audacity to dream, right? The audacity to create and just the incredible creators we have here in our state, something to really, really be proud of. And there's a lot to be proud of as New Mexicans, but very, very little for me anyway, personally, is as incredible as the creative talent and the people we have here. So I loved Vince talking about that. Came from very clearly an authentic place as somebody who he grew up here. And it's a place that he's stayed and he's made his own and called his own. And it's great to see. It's incredible to see.
Yeah, if I had a secondary one, I'd just say this. He talked a lot about how not everyone fits on a traditional path. Not everyone fits in that channel we're always talking about. And if you're one of those people, like you happen to stumble across this random podcast and you're like, I really like doing my art, or I really like doing my sport, believe in yourself. Like that's all this man has demonstrated time and time again, is just keep betting on yourself, keep working, and good things will happen.
Awesome. Well, before we go, tomorrow night, make sure you join us if you're watching this live. Tomorrow night at 5:30 p.m., we will be on to talk about stadium stuff, community conversations, the first in our series. It'll be via Zoom. If you're interested in joining, just go ahead and RSVP. The link is on our social media channels. Join us. If you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have ideas, if you're excited, if you're concerned, talk to us about it. We want to be there. We want to provide the information. We want to talk through everybody's thoughts, opinions, concerns, all of those things. It's a community conversation because it's a community project, so let's do it together. We'll see you tomorrow at 5:30. Lucas, until then, somos